My soon-to-be 6-year-old in 2 days just came in the office without his shirt on and saw himself on the computer screen and freaked out. I was like, "Don't worry, son. We haven't gone live yet. You're still good." So hi guys. Welcome. We are doing our weekly Monday Soul Deliciousness, and we're going to talk about confidence. So I'm giving you a second to hop on. Plus, because I need to make sure that I'm live. Bye, love you. Make sure that I'm live and that I've got all my stuff set up. I'm in the wrong place for chatting. Hello, Michelle. How are you? All right. I think we're ready to rock it. Rock and roll. Okay. Just going out to play with the neighbors. Hello, guys. Happy Monday. August 2nd. Can you believe it? It's crazy. I'm ready to get out all of my Halloween, which you can't see. It's up on the upper level shelves and over on the side. But I got some of it out. Wrong side. I got some of it out. I'm ready to decorate. I'm so ready. I love this time of year. Let's look at this so cute. Oh, my toxic cup. It's like the time of the year when I can decorate and I feel like I'm normal because I love pumpkins and stuff so much. Magic, make your magic. Back from vacation. I hope you had a great time. All right, guys, let's get this party started. Halloween is the best. I'm not really into the gory part of it. Hello. But I am totally into the whole pumpkin magic type, all that jazz. So, we are, you know what? I am a human being, and so I don't apologize, but just to let you know, we are potential for catastrophic chaos in my house while we go live. I can't shut the office door because then the dog will claw at the door. So it's basically just in and out, but if you have kids, you feel like you're at home. So it's all good. All right, we're going to talk about confidence, guys. La da da da. When I started writing up my notes for this one, I was like, oh, this is resonating with me. So align with me here. I say confidence. When you walk into a room or you walk into somewhere with people or you meet someone, what is your immediate thought? For me, not like it used to be, but for me, it was always, they don't like me. They're not going to like me. They don't like me. That was my immediate thought. So that was the first question that I started like kind of resonating with myself is what do I think about my own confidence? Or I'm going to say my confidence in the past, because definitely within the past couple of years, my confidence level is way different. And also, as we talk about this, don't confuse confidence with arrogance. Those are not the same thing. There's a completely different thing. I'm talking about true, aligned confidence. You enjoy yourself is what I like to think of it, and not as you're trying to become something that you're not or being better than other people, which is kind of what more aligns me with the word arrogance. So we're talking about confidence. Okay. Second one. So maybe you're not like that. Maybe you're a great social butterfly and you meet people and you're just like, oh, they love me. I love them. So good. Kudos. You're great. You're a step ahead. So that was the first one though that I thought about. How's my level of confidence when I walk into a room or when I meet someone new? Do I just automatically label myself as they don't like me? In the past, absolutely, without a doubt, I would have. Okay, so second, this one I really failed at. What do you do when you get a compliment? What do you do when you get a compliment? Most of you are going to have one or two responses to this, okay? So when you get a compliment, do you give a compliment back? Now, for some of you, you're like, yes, I do. And you're like, I just won. No, that's actually the failing answer. If you get a compliment, do you automatically give a compliment back? So if I tell you, oh my gosh, you have beautiful eyes, do you immediately spout back with, oh my gosh, I love your hair? Okay. You think that what you're doing is the appropriate response because that's what you've been taught. But in reality, perfect, Michelle, you say thank you. In reality, if you give a compliment back, you're basically ignoring what the person said to you and you're reflecting it back to them. When I was resonating with this one, I had to think for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, but that makes complete sense to me. I'm so uncomfortable with someone telling me, I think you're pretty, that I would resonate something back like, I think you're pretty too, or I like your whatever, right? Because you can't accept the compliment. So saying thank you, Michelle, you're right on. Saying thank you is the appropriate way to take a compliment. So these two things are huge when looking at your reflection on your confidence. There are a couple of things that kind of show you, kind of start you down that road of thinking like, yeah, I don't want to walk into a room and think that everyone dislikes me. And if someone gives me a compliment, I want to be able to take that compliment and say thank you instead of being overwhelmed by it or having it feed me full of anxiety. It's probably been a couple years ago, but I remember being in my mom's house and she gave me a compliment or something. I think we were talking about it. We were talking about something and I told her that someone gave me a compliment and I didn't know what to do with it. And she was like, you have a problem with that. You don't know how to accept a compliment. And at the time I was defensive and right. She's my mom. What do you know? But looking back, and she's 100% right. It has to do with my level of confidence. Like I wasn't confident in myself. And so I couldn't take the compliment and say, thank you. I had to reflect that energy back onto somebody else. Do you think confident is a thing? Is confidence something that you're born with? Because how many of you are like, oh, I'm just lacking in that department. I wasn't born with confidence, so therefore I'm not a confident person. Confidence is actually a choice. It's not a trait. Okay. That one can be hard to wrap your little noggin around. But basically your confidence is formed from your internal dialogue. So it's not so much whether you're born with confidence or not. Think of it more like this. It's more how you're processing what other people are telling you. So, because you might look at somebody and say, like, for instance, my 5-year-old, he seems like a ball of confidence to me. Some of that, right, is because I feed confidence into him, but he also is the type of person that doesn't really listen to what other people are telling him. So he's not getting that chipping away of his confidence. Okay. So think about it. If this is formed, if your confidence is formed from your internal dialogue, okay, it is your inner voice. I want you to think for a second and think about whose voice is it that you are really hearing? Whose voice is it that you are really hearing? Because it's probably not your own. I can 100% tell you whose voice it is that I hear when I have a confidence issue. It's going to be my father or kids that I went to school with, 100%. So am I actually hearing my voice or am I hearing the voice of my past? They're what I'm hearing when I'm having a confidence issue. And let's give you an example. Let's think about culturally how we are raised. Do not brag about yourself. Well, as a kid, and I know I'm sure that I've said this to my own kids, don't brag about yourself. Stop talking about yourself. Kids don't understand. There's no difference to them about talking about themselves, bragging about themselves. They don't have the ability to think about, okay, how can I talk about myself and do it in a humble way without being arrogant? No, we just hear them talking about themselves. You hear kids say all kinds of things, right? I live in a bigger house than my friend, whatever. They don't know how to set that boundary to not do that. So we tell them, don't brag about yourself. don't brag about yourself. And that's where we leave it. So the 5-year-old hears, don't brag about yourself, and takes that into adulthood, and still here you are 30 years old, don't brag about yourself. So you have it in your head. That's an agreement, a past agreement, that you can't talk about yourself. So don't brag about yourself becomes don't say nice things about yourself, which becomes don't think nice things about yourself. I'm going to repeat that because that's how your brain works. That's how your cognitive subconscious mind puts this together. Don't brag about yourself becomes, when people tell you something, it becomes a thought. So don't brag about yourself becomes a thought of don't say nice things about yourself because you're bragging. And that becomes don't think nice things about yourself. Because don't say and don't think, those are intertwined when it comes to your brain. Okay? So as a child, you just take that as don't talk about yourself at all. And that becomes how you grow up. And so anytime you talk positively about yourself, you feel guilt. I'm going to give you a prime example of this. So the other day, I posted a picture. It was a picture from 7 years ago. And it was a picture that popped up on my Facebook page. And I decided that I was like, wow, this is 7 years ago. I'm like, I do not feel like I have aged at all. And I posted the picture and said exactly what I just told you. I had someone tell me that they're like, brag much? And I was like, why am I bragging? That's not bragging. That's being excited about the fact that I'm not aging. I don't really know why, but I'm not. And I love it. And so that's right. A past agreement of that other person who just happened to think that it was okay to say that to me. And I was like, whoa, just because you don't like yourself doesn't mean that I'm bragging about it. I'm not bragging about it. Bragging about it is, going out of control, flaunting money in front of people, not giving to anyone, right? There's a difference, guys. You know that. There's a difference between being self-centered and being confident in yourself. So you have this past agreement, and maybe you have this thought in your head. Oh, I just had something else that I was going to say. It fell away like an apple off a tree. Maybe it'll come back. Okay. So past agreements. What if you have it in your head? I don't have it in me to be confident. Like, it's just not part of my personality. Well, first of all, right, you're going to align with that. So you're right. You're not, because you just told yourself that you weren't. Here's the thing, though. I don't have it in me to be confident. What if I said I don't have it in me to be happy? Let's use that. Happy is a really easy word because everybody knows exactly what happy is. I don't have it in me to be happy. How do you know that unless you know what happy is? Ooh, that's a kicker. Perception is projection. You have to know you have to have some ability to be confident, or you wouldn't know what confident was. You have to have some ability to be happy, or you wouldn't know what happy was. Right? If you've never felt confident, how do you know what confident is? If I've never been sad before, I have no idea what sadness is. So you have at some point been confident. So I don't have it in me to be confident. It's just a lie that you've told yourself or someone has told you. Once again, whose voice is that? Who's talking to you right now? It's okay to say nice things about yourself. You are here to be magnificent. You are not here to be mediocre. You are taught to be mediocre. Bless their hearts. Most of us don't have parents that teach us to be magnificent because that's just not culturally how we are. So we don't teach our kids to be magnificent. We teach our kids all these things. Hello. That we think that we need to teach them so they can be aligned to be these great adults. And you know what? We do not even really consider, some of you do, but for a lot of us, we don't even consider some of the stuff that we're saying to our kids, like the underlying emotional things that it creates for them when they're adults. Just recently, somebody was telling me about some things that they heard a mom saying to her kids, and I was blown away. I mean, you want to talk about like poster parents for toxicity. It boggles my mind that I don't know how people can be saying the types of things that these people were saying and not think to themselves, what is this going to do to my child as an adult? Right? But they don't have the capability to self-reflect to that point. Okay. It's okay to say nice things about yourself. When you sparkle, when you shine, when you glow, when you're happy, you give other people permission to sparkle too. Okay. That's where you can disconnect the, oh, but it's arrogant to be confident. Oh, but, oh, I remember what I was going to say. Okay. You're taught to not say good things about yourself because you don't want to make someone else feel bad. That's why your parents do that, right? They're like, Amy, don't say how pretty your hair is because you don't want Lindsay next door to be sad that her hair isn't as pretty as yours. And that's what we do. And so then let's do some shout outs quick. Michelle, Angela, Lisa, hello, and Stacy. Don't say that about yourself. Don't say your dress is so pretty because you're going to make Mary feel bad. That's why our parents teach us that, is because we're actually playing into the, perceptions of other people, and we don't want to make anyone feel bad. So we don't want to talk about ourselves. We want to talk about how successful we are because we don't want to make someone else feel bad that is not as successful as us. But the problem is doing that, you're just ingraining into your head that it's not okay. It's not okay to be confident in myself. It's not okay to be nice to myself. It's not okay. And then those things turn into thoughts. And then every time you go to think, oh, I'm having success, it's not okay. You're not successful. That's not okay. See how much we beat ourselves up? Whose voice is in your head telling you that it's not okay? Self-sabotage, right? How many of you were like, I don't understand why I don't have abundance? Self-sabotage. You're basically telling yourself that it's not okay. You're born to be mediocre because that's what you're taught. And heaven forbid you be successful because that would be unfair, okay? To your sister, to your brother, to your parents. I mean, I've seen parents that are self-sabotaging their kids because their kids have more than they do. And so the parents have a almost self-sabotaging effect on their children because they're jealous that their kids have progressed more than they did. It's crazy. Okay. All right. Well, we all want to know. Underlying thing is Amy points out all this stuff, and then what do we do with it? How do we change it? How do we be different? I don't want to be like that. I want to be confident, not arrogant. I want to be confident. So let's talk about the change. It's all about the change. Number one, now some of you are going to age ourselves a little bit here. For those of you young whippersnappers that don't know what a record is, you're just going to have to bear with me. I'm sure you can go on YouTube and find one. Okay, so back in the day, we had these cool things called records, and they look like discs, right? I'm sure everyone knows what a record is. But you put it on the record player, right? And then you put the little handle down, and it has the needle, and the record plays really beautiful music or whatever, and all is well. And when you set it at the beginning, it plays all the way through, right? Every time you do it, your brain works the same way. Do, do, do. Negative pattern starts, do, 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 all the way down. Negative pattern starts, and then it becomes this habitual pattern of thinking negatively about yourself. So what do we need to do here? You're going to scratch the crap out of that record. What happens when you scratch the record? It's playing along, and then boom, it hits the scratch, and it can't go past it. So it gets stuck, right? And it stops. It stops the song. It stops the person talking. It stops everything. The needle, in most instances, cannot go over the scratch, and so it just gets stuck. And then whatever it is on that one little line, bloop, 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 it keeps like, right, I can hear it in my head, like resonating back when I was a kid listening to this something. It's like stuck, and it can't go past. That's what we want to do. Same thing. Pattern interruptions, scratch the record. How do you do that? Pile on positive. Pile on positive. Every time you catch yourself being negative about yourself, being negative about someone else, being negative about your dinner, being negative about your kids, being negative about burning toast, being negative about smelling weird. I mean, anything. Okay, pile on the positive. You got to give yourself stuff to be positive about. If you're like, I don't know how to do that, I can't be positive, I just like myself so much. Okay, anything to vibrate yourself at a higher level, find some gratitude. If you can't do positive or gratitude, we have some serious issues. You need to book an appointment with me or someone else, because you got to get past that. There's always something to be thankful for. There's always something to be positive for. Every single moment of your life, even in the moments that are the most horrifying. I know, been there, done that. Okay. All right. Yes. I was going to tell you something. We'll come back to that. Hold that thought. All right. The other thing, think about, what does confidence look like for you? Okay. In yourself. Don't pick out someone else and be like, oh, that's what confidence looks like for me, is this person. Okay, great. That's a good role model to put yourself after. But I want you to think about yourself. What does confidence look like for you? How do you look at confidence? Now, when I did this little exercise for myself, a couple of things I found. Anchoring myself back to a point when I felt confident. Okay, now I'm going to share this with you. Probably the time that I was more confident than I've ever been in my entire life was when I got my pilot wings, right? I graduated from the pilot training program in the United States Air Force as a female with kids. This was unheard of. That is where I was the most confident ever in my life. So I breathe. I check my text message. I'm going to beat my kids. Not really. I love my kids. So I'm breathing and I'm resonating and I'm feeling my point where I felt that confidence, so that I can have that feeling again. And this is called anchoring. So anytime that I get to a spot where I'm like, ooh, I'm not feeling confident at all, the more that you anchor yourself back to that space, the easier it becomes to feel that again. So I know what it's like to feel confident. Okay. When I look back then, and I looked at, when I was doing this for myself, this exercise, self-reflection, I was looking at why had I lost confidence at some point? I know why. Look at yourself in the past. What is it that's holding you right now? Do a disconnection. By that, I mean, I want you to visualize yourself looking at yourself. I forgive you. I love you. And I release you. And those were really important for me, because I realized that some of myself holding back from my confidence are those voices in my head, but it's based off of things that I've done in the past that I have guilt around, or that I regret, or that I wish that I would have done things differently. Look at yourself. I forgive you. I love you. I release you. You don't know what you don't know. If you back then knew exactly how you were feeling today in this moment, you never would do those things, because you know better. Okay? It's like when a tragic accident occurs. Do you really think that you would do the same thing knowing the outcome? No, but you can't beat yourself up because you don't know what you don't know. Okay? I forgive you. I love you. I release you. What does confidence look like for you now? For me, it looks like a release of all those burdens, because I was holding myself in this space where I felt worthless and not worthy of things. You can't be confident if you feel worthless and you feel like you're not worthy of things. So you have to let that go. So merge with what does it look like to be confident now? Confidence to me feels like I know exactly where I'm going. I have a beautiful path. I have purpose. I have power. I have the ability to be myself without reservation. Whether that means that I want to color my hair green, or I want to wear a pumpkin shirt in the middle of June, or I want to go shopping in my pajama pants. Like, it is merging with that person. Okay. All right. Posture. This is another one. How are you holding yourself? When you are walking, are you staring at the ground? I see this one a lot because when I'm walking around at work back before we had fantastic COVID, I would smile at people just to say hello, right? I mean, I know that I have a very energizing smile and I have a very scary resting face, okay? G-rated there. Very scary resting face. So I smile because I know that my smile is contagious and it gives off a warm vibe. So it is amazing to me how many people I pass that are staring at the ground. They will not make eye contact with me even when I'm smiling at them. They are walking, looking at the ground. If there is anything that screams I am not confident to someone else, it is your nonverbal communication of not making eye contact. How are you walking? Okay. There are times when I feel really kind of bombarded by stuff and I catch myself being like, okay, straighten your shoulders, take a deep breath and remember who you are. Okay. Remember what you've done. Go back to that moment of confidence when I graduated as a pilot, right? I'm not a pilot right now. As far as my career goes, I do something completely different. But there are moments in my life where I have gone to do something and it has nothing to do with flying and I'm feeling really anxious and I'm second guessing myself and I'm like, do I have the capability to be presenting what I'm presenting, or do I have the knowledge, do I have the whatever to act as a expert in this field right now? And then I remember and I remind myself, girl, you are a pilot, right? Straighten your shoulders, take a deep breath. I once had an HR person tell me that one of the first things that they did when they had someone come in for an interview is they watched the person in the parking lot. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. They said, yes, I watch the person get out of the car and I want to see how they walk into the building because it says a lot about them by how they are carrying themselves into the building. And I started doing that and watching people. I could definitely see a difference between someone walking in confidently, someone walking in that was scared for their life, and someone walking in that was very arrogant. It was amazing. Like, you could actually tell by the way they were walking. The person that was walking in arrogant looks fake. They're in the fake it till you make it. You can just tell. The person that's walking in confident to me is also giving off a happiness vibe. Confident people are happy, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. Spending some time with your subconscious. Most of us ditch the subconscious at the door all the time. Like, you don't like to be with it. It makes you uncomfortable. Even you don't want to address it. You want to just not be connected to it. And by all means, that is one of the worst things that you can do, because being aligned cognitively and subconsciously is where our balance comes from. And so you can't get rid of one or the other. I can't live in a meditative trance state all day, even though it feels really good to be there and I don't have to worry about things and I feel really light and I don't have to make decisions, and I can just sit and listen to meditation music and all is well and I feel like I'm floating. I can't stay there forever. No different than if I stay in my cognitive state where I'm in fight or flight and I'm stressed out of my mind and everything's going all amok. Either one of those, too much on one side, is out of balance. So I need to be centered. I need to be cognitively, subconsciously centered. Spend some time with your subconscious, because everything you perceive is simply a projection of your mind. That's why all of us are arguing about so many things, is because the reality is whatever you create. That's a hard one for people to wrap themselves around as far as really deep thinking. Your reality is based off of the projections of your mind. And that's why we can have such outside opinions on stuff, is because that's all it is. Did you ever wonder, like, how in the world could someone think that? It's because of their projection. That's their reality. That's why you're never going to change someone's opinion by arguing with them on Facebook. It's their projection. It is their reality. Arguing with people on social media is never going to change the mind of someone. All right. Without your projection, nothing has meaning otherwise. If I don't know what the color of blue is, it doesn't mean anything to me. If I don't have a projection of that is blue, I've been taught that that's blue. Everything that I see over and over as a kid, what color is this? What color is this? What color is this? It's blue. That's my perception. If I grab a person who has never seen the color blue before and I show it to them, their perception of it is different, right? It's not blue. It doesn't come up as blue to them. It's different. That's their perception. No different than like a smell of something can create a perception for someone that's totally different than someone else. Maybe if you got really sick off of eating something and it has a very distinct smell. Curry is one for me. I cannot eat curry because I got really sick once when I had curry. That's a perception, a projection of my mind, right? It doesn't make other people sick to smell curry, but it makes me sick to smell curry simply because of an experience that I had. That's how we give meanings to stuff. All right. Here's the last one that's really important. And I'm going to tell you what, out of everything that I've talked about, this one is the hardest. And I shouldn't even say that because, right, what did I just tell you? Right? I just implemented in our minds that it's the hardest because she said it was. Thinking negatively about other people becomes a projection that then becomes a suggestion for how your subconscious thinks about yourself. I'm actually going to read that to you again because it's that important. Thinking negative about other people becomes a projection that then becomes a suggestion to your subconscious about how to think about yourself. Ooh, that one strikes the heart of, right here for me. And I'm like, ooh. You always hear the phrase, the people that are the most judgmental are miserable, right? They actually dislike themselves. And that's why. Now, before we go beating ourselves up, because that's also not mentally healthy, we need to realize that we all judge. We judge ourselves. We judge everyone else. It's part of being a human being. So, Amy, how do we stop that then? How am I going to stop thinking negatively about other people if it's causing me to project negatively and create subconscious negative thoughts about myself? You choose to judge people in a positive way. Yeah, that's it. When you look at someone, judge them in a positive way. You're still doing the whole judgmental thing, so your subconscious mind is aligned with it, but you're judging them in a positive way. Aha. Aha. Last thing that I want to tell you, it came back to me. I lost this one and I remembered it. It involves thinking kind of how we talk about manifestation. If I say to myself, I'll have confidence when I am successful. I'll be successful when I have confidence. I heard this today when it was about writing a book. I'll be an author when I write a book. So basically, I'm telling myself that I can't write a book because I'm not an author. Same thing goes. No, I become an author by writing a book. Therefore, I'm writing a book. Same thing with confidence and success. You don't have confidence because you're successful, and you don't be successful because you have confidence. Then you're never going to get there. Because you're telling yourself on both sides, I'm not confident, so I'm not successful, and I'm not successful because I'm not confident, then what are you neither? You're neither confident or successful. No different than if I tell myself I'm not an author, so I can't write a book. I'm not writing a book because I'm not an author. Ooh, how do you get out of that cycle, right? You realize it. You realize that you're doing it. You realize that you're doing it. And you go through these other things. Okay, I'm going to be more confident by, number 1, pattern interrupting the record. 2, get rid of the past, the voice, the past, the memory, whatever that is. I love, I forgive, I release. What does confidence for myself look like? I'm going to envision myself. That's how I'm seeing myself. Remember a time when you were confident. Anchor back to that moment. That's what I want to feel like when I start feeling like I'm losing my confidence and I'm changing my posture. How am I walking? Stop staring at the ground. Roll your shoulders back. Smile at people. If you're like, oh, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable if you're not used to doing it. But what are we doing? We're breaking a pattern. It's habitual for you. Smack, smack, smack. Sometimes people put rubber bands on their hands, around their wrist, right? And they pull on it every time they think something negative about themselves to remind themselves to stop doing it. You're breaking a pattern. Spend some time with your subconscious. What are you saying to yourself? What are the realities that you've created? Just like I mentioned, success. I can't be successful until I'm confident. I can't be confident until I'm successful. Are you living in a cycle like that? Break out of it today, in the moment now. I'm successful now. I'm successful today. I'm confident today. I'm confident in this moment today. I'm successful and confident. All right, you guys, there we go. Monday Soul Deliciousness. I need to go figure out where my kid is. Apparently he is down at the pond hunting frogs, which he's not allowed to do. So thank goodness for blessed neighbors. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday. Okay, bye.